It was around the world in 85 plates. Pa. Hoo ha ha ha. After all these years, I sent you on a soul searching, and you come back with a review of foods. Spent most of my time in New York. Learned about the divine forces that helped them gain independence from the British. Met Harry Harrison, went to Hollywood Realization, California. Spent my time with Paramahamsa Paramananda. It was 4th of July every day. Met the Sai Lama in Tibet. The Buddhist, the mind freaks in USA, street magicians in Europe.
So, I see you have been with the world's greatest magicians who've understood the core of delusions and deceptions. Spiritually, that is?
My first country was Croatia. I landed in Croatia in February 1940. The ship left in January from Madras. I checked into a hotel, and there were a lot of street food, platform canopy cafeterias. I had my breakfast in the cafeteria, enjoying their lifestyles. A street magician came up to me. He was very strange. I felt like I had been waiting for you since. Like a messenger or something, he was performing street magic there. The moment he laid his eyes on me, he changed his expression completely. He gave me a card with Sanskrit text and left the street. I was puzzled, and I followed him, racing in the streets, and he was gone. I realized Croatia is just the beginning. I flew to Japan in March 1940. It was known as the Britain of the East. I met the Hogan priest descendants. They gifted me a few insights to wisdom. In June 1941 I departed to New Zealand, a safer place during this Second World War. I was walking in the streets of a cafeteria platform. A street magician there suddenly flew up in the air, in the middle of the road. I spent a year with him training myself and developing. He called himself the Freaky. That's really freaky, isn't it? 1942 I landed in Rio, went for a sightseeing trip. A man came up to me and said his name was Hynamo Sr. I asked him who was the junior. He said my unborn son. I laughed, and he said, never mind, do you mind shooting a picture of me and Jesus in my backdrop? I said okay. He gave me his all-new Eastman Kodak camera to me and posed like Jesus, in the statue. He started defying gravity. I was quite surprised. I spent my time with him learning his understanding of delusions and deceptions. He was unwilling to share any of those. But when I said I come from a family of illusionists and I'm here to explore the doors, he was comfortable with me. In 1943, I went to Mexico. I spent a lot of times with fakir settlers and understanding the illusions of the world. Then I moved to Canada in 1944. There were nobody, except a few strange types of divine beings walking the streets unexplainable. The population of Canada was nearly close to zero. There were hardly natives. These extraterrestrial beings had some deeper understanding in the core of deceptions. In 1945 I went to Washington, D.C. I made an appointment to meet Sir Stein and Don Darren, who recently surrendered themselves to USA, as Hitler was on rampage. I met Harry Harrison in New York. I went to Hollywood Center of Self-Realization building, and I realized the answer is much closer to us. Not knowing which. We travel to every corner of the world. I made an appointment with the monk there. He was writing his autobiography at that time. I ended my trip in India. In 1945 met Buddhist leaders and I met many other Buddhist monks, and few indescribable saints of Himalayas who trained me. Few monks, who were surprisingly unknown to common people, or unseen by the common people, who've mastered nirvana. They asked me for the card. I gave them the card, given by the street magician, and they took me with them.
Give me the card. You see? That's why I wanted you to go on a world tour, for which you were a bit resistant. If I didn't let you go after training you for 3 years, you wouldn't have explored a whole new territory.
Son, how was the experience of Nirvana?